Hey there, welcome to the Fray Podcast. Before you dive into this episode, I just wanted to say a couple quick things about this episode. First off, thank you to Dwane for coming to my house and recording this at 6:30 a.m. Tried to do it before the girls woke up, and we talked about it a lot, and it wasn't super deep or anything, but point being, not everyone's a morning person, and even so, it was a Saturday morning. He got out of bed, he came to record the podcast. That's because he loves me, and I want to first quickly say thank you to Dwane for doing that. Also, in this episode, I mentioned that I have stepped down as a youth pastor, or that I left the Bridge Church. And if you're not familiar with me, which would be kind of crazy in my mind that you'd listen to this podcast and you don't actually know me personally, just to make it very clear, I've left the Bridge Church on good terms and stepped down as youth pastor there. And we are pursuing ministry in a different area. And with that, I'll kind of probably talk about that more later on as things develop more, but that is why we are doing this episode. Is me and Dwane, I just wanted an excuse to hang out with him and us kind of recap how youth ministry was the past 2 years and what we got to build together, and really just give him his flowers, because there's a lot he did behind the scenes that no one knew, and I didn't want to take that for granted. And so as I've left the Bridge, I wanted to make sure that the people got the flowers that they needed to for a while when I was there. Enjoy this episode and go read the blog. Got a new blog up called The Bible's a Joke. Me, just honestly, it's an excuse for me to write about comedy, which I love, and tie it into the Bible and talk about some funny stories in the Bible. Anyways, go check out the blog, subscribe to the podcast, check out our socials, and enjoy this episode of the Fray Podcast. Just talk in your mic about your feelings about life real quick. I'm just trying to get your mic. What do you love about Chase? On the record. Okay. Guitar and nice butt.
I was so gonna say that. But
Nice biceps.
he's got good triceps. He's got a lot of definition in the triceps. You need me to move this thing closer to me or slide down or
No, I got it.
yell at me? Just trying to help you.
Yeah, that stumbled my brain so much. So I'm going to start off by just saying I haven't recorded a podcast with someone in half a year, so we'll see how this goes.
Well, you'll do fine.
The last time I didn't even hit record the right way, so that conversation was trash. Nope, you weren't. Alright, so welcome to the Fray Podcast. My name is Austin, your host, and I'm here with Dwane "The Rock" Johnson from a popular show called Ballers. Is it Get Hard? What was that movie he did with Mark Wahlberg? Also, No, I don't know that movie. I'm blanking on all. Central Intelligence with Kevin Hart. He was in The Roast. WWE wrestler, so you can imagine the guy speaking right now in tights, tighty whities. That's what is So we're going to talk about youth ministry today since I abandoned it. And okay, what would you say? Okay, that's a nice way to put that. You're my PR. You're like, you say a lot of horrible things, Austin. I can definitely give you a better image.
I can water that down.
Yeah. All right, let's just start off with, why did you get involved in youth ministry?
Two weeks into me praying multiple times a day about that, you actually approached me about helping in the youth, which caught me off guard. I didn't know the youth was where my calling was going to be, but it's been a true blessing ever since. Like I've said so many times, I can't thank you enough for wanting to include me in something that you care about and take so personally.
Oh.
That's right.
No, so I had been in youth ministry for God knows how long at that point, around 2020, I think, when I started, and served a little bit on and off, and then the more I stuck around, the more I wanted to grow in that leadership role. And so then when I became youth pastor, we kind of cleaned house with volunteers, all great people. Just we were doing something very different, and immediately the person that came to mind to ask help was Dwane, because Dwane, he's the way he does ministry, just in his life, is you are very relational, you're very honest, you don't hold anything back, in like a good way of like, you do hold your anger back.
Yeah,
which
I'm getting better with that.
Yeah, we appreciate, because you squash anyone, but you don't hold anything back, as in, a good example of this is you shared your testimony for maybe like the second or third time in the men's breakfast. And I had a guest come with me that day, and he asked if he could bring his like second grade kid. And I wasn't thinking really about who was speaking. I knew who was speaking. I just wasn't thinking too much into it. And I was like, yeah, my dad brought me to these things all the time. Other dads bring their kids. Go ahead, bring them. And then you
told the truth.
Yeah, you told the truth about your life and all the trauma you've experienced, and you just laid it all out there. Probably scarred that kid for life. But what I appreciate about you is you don't hold anything back, as in you're not scared to let people see the worst sides of your story, and you're not scared to let people see where you felt weak or vulnerable. Instead, you use those as tools to speak life into people. And when I was thinking about what the youth needed, I didn't feel like they needed another church kid. They already had that in me. They needed someone who was going to be able to relate to them in their pain.
The opposite of a church kid.
Yeah. They needed some of that rawness that I didn't feel like I could lean into as much as you could. I felt like that was one of your strengths, is you're very transparent, very vulnerable, very personable with the kids. And yeah, I think you did freaking great.
we brought very balanced, very balanced partnership with the youth, because you definitely have very, very impressive leadership skills and preaching and teaching, and you know the gospel inside and out far, far better than I do, or better than most people I know do. And I know the other side way better than you do.
Yeah.
Thank the Lord. But we done good. I mean, when I first came into youth, I had no idea what to expect. I felt like I was in over my head, and probably the first, I don't know, maybe the first year doing it together, I just kind of felt like I was the oddball. But as the kids, naturally the kids don't open up to you when you're new. They don't
They're guarded to see who's going to stay around.
Yes, they're very guarded, and they're going to test you and test you and test you. But after the first year, starting into the second year, I think I kind of got comfortable. I had built great relationships with the majority of the kids, and you had a relationship one way with them, and I complimented your relationship with my own form. Like, but anyways, I got comfortable. I lost where I was going with that, but I got comfortable, and I think we started making leaps and bounds with a lot of the kids. And if they wouldn't open up to you, they opened up to me. They were starting to open up to each other, which was apparent because the youth group itself grew and grew.
Yeah.
We went from a handful of kids in there to we started having 30 plus kids.
Yep.
Every Wednesday, which is amazing. We still have a bunch.
Yeah.
But
just let half of them graduate.
God, no.
We should have messed them up. We should have encouraged them to fail.
Which we should have.
We're too inspiring.
We could.
I don't think either one of us went to college, right?
No. No.
Yeah, we're too inspiring. No, they seen us. They're like, yeah, we don't want to end up like them.
They're like, yeah, definitely got to go to school. Look at these two.
Man. Yeah, we even had a season where we were baptizing almost every week, which was nuts.
What a blessing, though, man, to see that many kids.
And it was some of the hardest kids.
Yes.
Though, like,
some of the ones you didn't see coming. That.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah. And then I think you talked about they started sharing with each other. We started off doing the youth ministry together with a group who was divided. High school, middle school hadn't been together, and they didn't want to be together now.
They didn't like each other.
They did not like each other at all. And they are also very... the high school was very attached to the old youth leader.
Yeah.
And was resistant to...
And he done great.
Yeah.
I mean, he done great, and they're still attached to him.
Yeah. And, but we had that challenge, too, of like, okay, even though I had been there, it felt like I was new just because I had to connect with a group that I hadn't really been with.
And you changed roles.
Yeah. And so we both, or all three of us, me, you, and Berlin, had to kind of win an entire group over kids who didn't like each other and weren't the biggest fans that we were in charge now.
Amen to that. I'd be up talking, and they'd look at me and be like, "Can you sit down and let Pastor Austin talk?"
Yeah, and then I'd get up there, and they're like, "When's Wayne coming back?"
Yeah,
You're like,
is Mr. Wayne coming next week?
"What? Take someone out."
No.
What are some misconceptions you had about youth ministry? Like things you didn't expect to happen. Maybe you expected kids to be a certain way, and it turned out they're
I don't know. I didn't grow up in church, and I had never been to a youth program. Period. Not even once. I was completely green when I walked in there with you, and
lucky.
Yeah, right. Right. I got molded the right way from the beginning.
Yeah.
And man, I learned so much from you, just how you handled situations and dealt with the kids, because you have such a different approach as far as getting control of the kids, or when they get wild in there, you have a different way to get them to straighten out. And it took me growing in the Lord to get past the point that I wanted to holler at everybody. And
it'll make you have a mental breakdown.
Oh man,
be on the way home calling 911 saying, "Hey, I'm about to harm myself." Not the kids. I'm gonna harm myself.
Yeah. I can't do it. I don't know why I'm doing. Why did Austin ask me?
They asked me why do I stand that way, and I didn't know how to handle it anymore. They hit my insecurities.
And standing in front of them kids, man, it's like they can see through you, and it's like they're reading you like a book.
Yeah.
It dealing with the youth takes a special person, and
they'll see through you, and they will tell you what they see.
Yes.
It's not like they have respect.
No.
And they're like,
and they're unfiltered.
Yeah, I see this person is ugly, but I'm not going to say it. They're like, I see they're ugly.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it the worst way possible.
They're like, no, they are ugly.
Yeah.
They're
Hey, everybody, do you see how ugly this guy is?
You want me to listen to him?
Yeah. And then they have no care in the world, because you look back at them and you're like, what are you talking about? Got pimples all over your face. Golly. Anyway. We love the kids.
And then, absolutely. It was a journey, man. It's definitely a ride.
I think one thing that, because I had been in youth ministry, I knew from a kid's perspective what it was like. But I remember being in youth ministry as a student and feeling like some of the teachers I had talked to us like we were children. And so when I came into youth ministry as a leader, one of the things I wanted to do was make sure I talked to the kids like they're adults, because they want to be treated like adults.
And they appreciate that.
Yeah, half of them are talking, like, election time comes around and they're like talking as if they can vote. And you're like, you don't even... why are you even worried about this right now?
You can't even spell politics.
Yeah. Literally. We got an education crisis. But coming in with that mindset of, no, they want to be treated like adults, treat them like adults, don't talk to them like kids. That'll be a way you can earn their respect. And I think it worked. And I think that's, again, one of the benefits of having you in there is the teens are not as innocent as they seem. A lot of people come in there and they're like, well, these kids don't know what they're talking about. They're talking about trauma. They don't know what trauma is. They know what trauma is.
Absolutely.
And you were able to step into that realm and really help give them language for it, help them see, okay, there's hope at the end of the tunnel. And you got to talk to them. I know some of the boys man to man about that stuff, and just really lay it out there. Like, hey, let's just be honest. It sucks.
Yeah, it went from nobody opening up to me to a washboard of
Yeah.
everybody. It seemed like at one time.
A good example of this, something we had to stop doing, was the prayer requests. Because Dwayne was in charge of doing the prayer at the beginning of the service, and he was doing prayer requests. And the kids were opening up way too much. Like, we're finding out, some of the girls got a new boyfriend every week, and you're just like, are we praying for this relationship too? Really? The prayer for the last one didn't work.
The prayer request started out being what, 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Or so, and turned into half an hour.
Yeah. Like, I'm standing in the back, I'm like, I don't know if I'm teaching tonight. Like, we might have to just spend a whole service laying hands on people and casting out demons, because these kids they're laying it all out, and they got so comfortable with you that they, in those prayer request sessions, because that's what it became a session.
It did.
They're sharing some of their darkest secrets and the most vulnerable moments of their lives in front of a group.
In front of a big group.
Yeah.
With no shame.
Yeah.
No hesitation.
And they're telling it to you. They trust you. I think it speaks power.
Well, too, man, when I first came in and they weren't comfortable with me and they were waiting to see if I was going to quit and walk out and not take them serious or whatever, I would watch them come to you, opening up every week or even at church on Sundays. And I wasn't jealous, but I wanted, I yearned for, them to come to me because I wanted to help. I wanted to, I knew, because you can look at, and other people will tell you, you can look at some of those kids, look at them in their eyes, and you can see the trauma that they've been through, and you want to help, but then they were still like, who's this guy that wants to talk to me? So it was such a blessing. It finally showed me my purpose for going through what I did whenever I was younger, and the abuse that I faced and had to deal with all my life. Once they started opening up, then I understood God's plan with me being into you. Then I started seeing your side of the spectrum, where you were coming from with me, how I could be helpful and help the ministry grow. Because like you said earlier, I bring certain things to the table that you didn't have. Thank the Lord, just because you didn't go through it, being young. But
I think that's one of the things I wish people would recognize more. I've talked to some people about this, of like, I'd say there's for sure rough moments in my childhood. There's a little bit of trauma, but
absolutely,
yeah, I'm as screwed up as anyone. That's
putting it lightly.
Yeah. But I know some people who have really dark personal testimonies that they are sitting on, and they don't realize God can use.
Yeah.
And as someone who I don't have quite that same story, I look at them, I'm like, man, if you only knew. Like, if you only knew the hurdles, like, I have to really fight to get someone to open up to me, because they know. They're like, Austin, whatever trauma experience was pretty contained. And that doesn't mean it doesn't affect me. It just means it wasn't as bad as it could have been. And I recognize that. But then I see some people and I'm like, man, your trauma was as bad as it could get, And I think you're a good example of someone who didn't keep that to themselves and was like, yeah, that's just a personal testimony for myself.
Well,
Instead, you used it.
I did for so long, just because of the shame that the enemy had me in my head. Just from the struggles, I didn't want people to see it. I didn't want to be that kid. But again, working with the youth, man, it just made me bolder and bolder to share and to be open. And
I mean, how many kids are you seeing every week who you relate to whatever pain or trauma they feel, and you're like, well, when you're ministering or you're talking to one of those students, you're like, I'm literally talking to a younger version of myself.
yeah,
And I'd imagine that's something you wish you had back when you were a kid. You wish you had.
It would have been awesome.
Yeah.
It would have been awesome to have somebody to go to or to talk to that understood, because even now you still wish you had that person to talk to. And since I've opened up, there's one or two with the church that I know have experienced a ton in their childhood, and that can relate to me and I can relate to them. And it's nice because we do talk, we do help each other through different times, different seasons. But, seeing the hurt and the pain on those kids' faces, and it's just so much more motivation to stay open and honest about everything, no matter the judgment, because judgment comes, and it's hard because normally the judgment comes from your family instead of, others. I mean, you can see it. What people don't realize is you can look at someone and tell when you're being judged and why you're being judged if you're that kid that went through it.
Yeah.
And it's discouraging, especially when it's family members that want to judge you or whatever, no matter what they say or what they promise, that they're not doing this or not doing that. But you can see in their actions and their facial responses the way you're treated, and the list just goes on and on. And had I had somebody to open up to whenever I was younger, could have made my whole life different. But at the same time, if my life would have been different, then I wouldn't be where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Possibly with the youth and, all of that. So my life from my childhood doesn't bother me a bit now. And there's still struggles, but I know that God had a greater purpose for all of it, and it's all in His timing. I just stood in the way of His timing for decades.
I think we can all relate to that.
Yeah, no doubt, in one form or another.
Yeah. What's something that stands out to you specifically about maybe a conversation you got to have with one of the students? Maybe it was a night you taught that you're like, that's a very memorable moment.
Well, there's multiple conversations that I've had that stand out, and you can see the kids change once they've opened up to you.
Yeah.
Once they know that you're not going to judge them, once they figure out that you're a safe place, with zero judgment, and you're not going to run tell anybody, once they know that they can trust you, is amazing by itself. But as far as getting to teach, I've always tried to do it, like I've seen other people with writing out your lesson plan and going through and staying on track and trying to have everything wrote down the way it needs to be and stuff. And we all know that is great and wonderful for some people. but I've always done a lot better if I just kind of have a topic and wing it from there. Because the Lord will load your lips. He'll tell you what to say when you need to say it. And the last time I taught this year, what, a month ago or something like that.
Yeah.
When I didn't even open my notebook or anything. I mean, I done it the way I'm comfortable and the way I've always done things. And it was just a complete 180 from all the other times I've taught. You know, just the response I had from the kids. I didn't have to tell any of them to hush or to be quiet or nothing. I just had their full attention, their full focus. And, you know, that was coming off of hearing, you know, what the Lord has in the future for you. I went from not being concerned, but a little apprehensive about what next year will hold without you. You know, and just really me, and of course with the kids that help already, and I thank the Lord for them, but just being able to teach like I did last time was really a confidence booster and encouragement, you know, that I do know what I'm doing with that the Lord has helped me through you. I mean, you've taught me so much, man. I can't be more grateful for just getting to sit and watch your lessons week after week, even though you would teach and I'd be like, dang, why can't I do that? But I think next year is going to turn out and be good. I think the kids are going to, you know, still be there. I think the numbers will still be there. You always gain some, you lose some.
I was telling someone this yesterday. I was telling them that we were getting together to do the podcast. And one of the reasons I wanted us to talk in a recorded version for everyone to hear is so that I could highlight some things that people may not know about you. Yeah. You ready? I know one of the things that people said, even when I stepped up into the youth pastor role, was like, are we going to lose a bunch of kids? And granted, we not only lost some kids when I stepped in, but I told some kids to go home.
You did. You did. And I was impressed. It was well needed.
Yeah.
You know, you done the right thing. You done what the group needed.
Yeah, we had to reset expectation. I think a lot of getting control of a room is just setting expectations and being like, hey, this is what we're doing. If you don't want to be a part of that, that's fine. Just get out of here, though.
Leave.
Yeah. And I definitely did that a couple of times.
And they left.
Yeah, they left. But then the youth group as a whole grew, not just in numbers, but spiritually. I don't think we've ever seen that many baptisms in the youth ministry at the Bridge. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty certain.
Pretty comfortable with that.
Yeah, pretty comfortable to flex with that one. But then, with saying that, so earlier this year, which would have been our second semester for the school year, me and Berlin were not there at all for the first 2 months, I think it was, because we had complications with pregnancy, and then once we got released from the hospital, we still had to go through the rest of the pregnancy and eventually deliver and spend time with the newborn. So I wasn't gone. I was gone for a good while. So was Berlin, which meant Dwane was on his own. And no, a lot of it was kind of last minute of like, hey, I think I can come back. A couple days later, I don't think I can come back. You're still teaching. Good luck. And whatever people want to say about the numbers of, well, Austin's leaving. Does that mean numbers are going to go down? Numbers will go down because kids graduated, not because I'm leaving. Because Dwane kept a whole group of 20 to 30 kids in that room every Wednesday for the 2 months. The kids didn't know when I was coming back. Dwane didn't really know when I was coming back. We just hoped that it'd be soon.
We were just running on a wing and a prayer.
But I think that one shows a testament to the students of, we started our journey together, reorienting them of like, hey, you're not coming here for a teacher. That's why we had guest speakers come. That's why I made sure you spoke regularly. That's why eventually we let Cole start teaching. It's because I did not want them coming to just hear Austin and his message. Instead, I wanted them to come because we were all doing this together. And I think that's a testament to, they bought in on that, and they're coming because we're doing this together. It had nothing to do with me or Berlin. Also, though, they kept coming because Dwane had made such a connection with them that they're like, yeah, Austin and Berlin are gone, but Dwayne's still here. We're still in good hands. And I think through those 2 months, I mean, you had it handled. I didn't have to worry at all. Like, there wasn't, whether there was hiccups or ups and downs, that's just youth ministry in general. But you took care of it, and you took care of the kids. And I don't think everyone realizes that. And so I wanted to point that out. I also wanted to point out another thing, if I can. You spoke about maybe being jealous at how the kids connected with me at first. And I don't even think I've ever really told you this, but there was a moment, me being the youth pastor, where I felt like I was I got caught focusing on the wrong things. I was trying to build the program a little bit more than I was connecting with the students. And I got into this rut where I wasn't even really engaging with the students like I should have. And it was because I had all these other things on my mind at the time about how to grow this thing, and I was focused on that. And I remember realizing, that kid who used to come to me is going to freaking Dwane now. And being like, what the heck, man? Like, but it was a good thing that they did that. One, because you're great, but two, it taught me a good lesson of like, no, Dwane was focused on the right thing. We're not here to build the program, which is what I came into youth ministry saying. Is right. We're not trying to build some big youth group. We're trying to connect with these students. They're the ones we're focused on, and helping them follow Jesus. And I think you remembered that even when I forgot it. And it was at a certain point, I started looking to you and being like, okay, I'm gonna learn from Dwane on how to connect with these students, because he's freaking getting hugs from them. I don't want the hugs, but he's connecting with them in a very personal way, and he's got his eyes focused on the right thing. I want to have my eyes focused on the right thing. And so for all those parents who are like, oh, it was Austin, it's not Austin. Austin screwed up a good bit, and Dwane kept the youth group going in a lot of areas where I lost focus or I had to learn some different lessons. I think I know you are a huge, valuable asset to the youth group, and we couldn't have done anything that we did without you.
Well, that goes both ways. Sorry.
Are you crying?
That goes maybe a little bit. That goes both ways, man. We just compliment each other so much. And, with the pregnancy and everything else, you guys had so much on your plate without trying to come up with a message every week for the kids and being there, and you were still there for the kids. Nobody ever doubted that. Nobody felt like you had abandoned or nothing like that, because that was the first thing they asked me every week was about how's Austin and Berlin. And so we spent the first 10 minutes every week talking about y'all. But it wasn't that I think you lost focus or anything like that. You just had different things on your plate And by you being the main one teaching, by you being the youth pastor, it allowed me to have the time to build relationships because, yeah, I taught some, but I didn't have to consistently do it every week. I was able to focus more on the relationships and, bonding with the kids than you were, because as soon as you were done teaching, then we started out breaking out into small groups, which put me with them one-on-one, more than you, which is where the relationships grew. But I think it changed as well after we started the new way with doing group discussion and stuff like that, and letting the kids be involved more. I think that was a real good move, just because it lets them feel like that, what, even though we come here to listen to Austin or Dwane, we're still a part. It's like a big family in there, and everybody gets to play a role if they want to. If they don't want to, that's fine too. But
it was cool to see some of the kids who got it. So I guess to explain a little bit, we started off just doing prayer requests lesson. I think that was it.
Yeah.
Then we transitioned to prayer requests lesson, break out into small groups, boys and girls. Dwane had the boys, Berlin had the girls, Austin had Addie. Golly. Yeah. And then at some point we changed it again, I guess when I came back after the pregnancy, to
I think that's right.
Lesson, and then we break out into we start off with a kid reading the scripture, saying a prayer, and then lesson, and then as a whole group we do small group, and which I guess it wasn't small, it's just a large group, and one of those a different kid than the one who read the scripture would get up, and he or she would ask questions that we had printed out for him. And what was cool about that was seeing the kids who would come up and ask, "Hey, can I read the scripture today?
Yeah.
Hey, can I lead the questions in the small group?"
And it was kids you wouldn't see.
Yeah.
Coming.
Kids I never would have picked if, it was my choice, not because of anything against them, more so I just didn't think they
were comfortable.
Yeah, didn't think they were comfortable, didn't think they'd be ready for something like that, didn't think they'd want to do something like that. But then some who were like, no, like that person did it last week, this is my turn.
Yeah.
Like having that energy, and then even seeing some of them who I felt like maybe got not bullied in the youth group, but they weren't everyone's favorite.
Right.
They're a little oddball. They would get up and do discussion questions. Yeah,
they just don't see it.
Yeah, but they'd get up and do the discussion questions, and watching one kid I'm thinking in particular actually handle the room really well, and have coming up with questions on the spot that she had just came up with.
Yeah.
To like follow up with, and seeing the growth in the students like that was fantastic. Seeing specifically Sage grow in his leadership skills, and Josie and Cole. Chloe ended up approaching us a few months ago about wanting to be a youth leader next year.
Yeah.
She's one of the youngest ones in the group.
Yeah.
To think how far she came. Yeah, you have Archer's that you're training up
tremendously.
Yeah, it's amazing to see.
Archer really has came a long ways.
Oh yeah, he's came a long way.
Long ways, man. Yeah. Which the majority of them have. Yeah. But it's amazing to watch those kids, because you're watching them while you're teaching or I'm teaching, or while that's going on. And you don't even think they're paying attention.
Yeah.
You think they're just, asleep or just in their own little world about what they're going to have later, what they're going to do or whatever. And then all of a sudden they throw out an amazing question, or they volunteered to do something. You're like, I Didn't even know you were awake.
Yep. Another one I think about, and he started coming back more recently, was Wyatt.
Yes.
Wyatt, shout out to him if he listens to podcasts in his Tesla. Wyatt was one of the kids who stood out for me because I remember when he first started coming to youth group when he was really, really young, I think in middle school.
Yeah.
And he was one of those kids that he'd come in and I loved him, but I was like, my God, he's a psycho. Like, he has so much energy. I don't really know how to, like,
rein it in.
Yeah, rein it in at all. And then he was gone for a little bit, and then he started coming back. And when he came back super mature. Like, wanting to learn, telling the other kids, hey, can y'all be quiet so we can listen to the lesson and answer these questions? Like, he
did.
He showed so much growth, and that stuff like that is really fun to see. If you watch a kid who is one of the rowdy ones in the class become one of the ones who's getting the rowdy ones in the class to
settle down.
Yeah. Or seeing Sage. Sage started off more of like a quieter kid, and then
Sage came a long ways.
As time went on, I mean, he's taking the pictures. He's setting up the games. Yeah, a lot of pictures. Yeah, man. And I appreciate it because I always knew at least one out of the 1,000 pictures he took has got to be good. Compared to mine, I'll take like 20 pictures and then I'll walk away. I'm like, frick, I didn't get one good. They're all blurred.
Sage didn't take one picture at a time. He just held it up.
Yeah. But he was the one that grew. Cole, of course, grew. Cole, I put him through the ringer for sure, making him come over here to my house for months. Us read the Bible together before I let him teach. That was fun because I got to see if he would actually go through it. Like,
and
the kids didn't have to do, like, they don't have to listen to me. They could have been like, yeah, screw you, Austin. I ain't doing that. Cole did it.
Cole definitely stepped up, and he's done good every time he's taught.
Yep. He's got better.
I've already talked to him about teaching some next year, and, us sitting down and going through stuff together, because
you're going to have like a group of young boys that you're going to have to meet with at this point.
No.
You're going to have Archer, Cole, probably Trey.
I see Trey coming.
Trey's ready.
See Trey coming. And if they don't listen to him,
he'll
cook them.
Yeah. Trey was always funny just because he had the best comebacks and you never expected it.
Never. You still don't.
He's like the quietest, sweetest kid. And then out of nowhere, he just roasts you. You're like, darn. All right. Man, I think about Zoe. I watched her time and time again. We would have some kids who are more on the spectrum, and she would go out of her way to talk with them, like help them out with whatever they need. She'd sit with them, not with her friends. Stuff like that can take a toll on a kid because youth group should be fun, and yet she was like, I'm going to put fun to the side for a moment. I'm going to help this kid out who doesn't really fit in with the rest of the group and sit by themselves.
She done all that on her own.
Yeah, never asked her to. She just naturally went out of her way. Who else? Justin. Seen him graduate and get a scholarship. Didn't even know that was possible. He's a kid too. If things had probably went a little different with the pregnancy, I could have seen pulling him aside and being like, hey, I think you should think about teaching a little bit. Because he did great with discussion questions when he did those.
Yep.
Always great questions in general.
Well, it's amazing the rowdy kids.
Yep.
You know, the louder kids out of the group who you've kind of got to rein in several times throughout the night or whatever. When you give them a task, how quick they change. They just mature all of a sudden out of thin air, and they don't think it's funny anymore. So
yeah.
They're getting on to the same ones they were just being rowdy with.
Yep.
For doing it to them. And I think doing the way you changed it and letting the kids, you know, open us up in prayer and read the discussion questions, get feedback, doing the things they're doing now. I think by putting them in a role in a way, even though, you know, no matter how big or small, I think it makes them have more respect for us, for what we do and how we, you know, what we deal with them.
Yeah.
So then when they get to do it, they're like, oh.
So people don't just magically shut up and listen?
Yeah, you mean this is how it really is? I'm that bad?
Yeah. Yeah. Man.
And it's funny sometimes, and I love calling on them when you already know that they're going to freeze up when you call on them. But I can't help but call on them, then they just shut down their whole body. They're shaking their head no.
Yep.
Because
shout out to Faith and Autumn. Man, I loved giving them panic attacks. Because Autumn would be involved in the lesson. But if you called on her, she suddenly was like, I didn't volunteer to actually be a part of anything.
No, I didn't come here for this.
Yeah. Lead me when I want to be led. Yeah, man. So, to wrap up this episode, I just want to say thank you. Not only for helping with the youth ministry, but also you at the Bridge served as someone who I always knew I could go to. You were someone who, we've talked about this before, I knew I could laugh with, which was very critical because in the church environment, it can be a dead crowd.
It can.
And people can be way too serious or somber.
And you'll not have a lot of the same sense of humor.
Yeah.
Which helps.
Yeah, out of pocket, shouldn't say this in church sense of humor that we definitely passed on to the kids.
Yes. Unintentional.
Yeah, but for me at the Bridge, you gave me kind of a safe place to be like, no, it's okay to be yourself. Joke around, have fun.
You got to be, man.
Yeah, and that...
The Lord don't want us to be statues or puppets or...
No. That's not fun.
He didn't create us to be robotic.
Like a nerd was reading a book this morning about comedy, not about God.
That's a change of pace.
Yeah, I try to read books that have nothing to do with Jesus at all, but sometimes I get trapped, being a nerd. But
it looks good on you
though. There's this quote. It said, "I realized that by working together so much and so closely and for so long, we sort of learn each other's techniques. What you gain in partnership is much greater than what you do on your own." It's by Matt Lucas from Keegan-Michael Key's book, The History of Sketch Comedy. And I thought that resonated with what I loved about doing youth ministry with you in Berlin. Was that it wasn't something we had to do on our own. I mean, you had to kind of do it on your own a little bit for a couple months.
Oh, that don't matter.
But
sometimes you got to take care of yourself and your family first. And y'all were in that situation to where really wasn't optional.
No. The hospital wouldn't let us leave.
And
We tried.
I know. I know.
But I think doing ministry with your friends is the best way to do ministry. I thought this way when Ryan was our worship leader at the Bridge. Of every day coming in to do stuff at the church, it felt exciting and fun because I'm like, my best friend's here. I get to do it with my best friend. Awesome. We're gonna crack up and tell people about Jesus and why they don't need to go to hell. Awesome. And doing youth ministry with you felt that same way. Those moments are rare. You don't always get that blessing of doing ministry with your friends, but doing youth ministry with you was.
It was a blast.
Yeah.
You're going to be deeply missed, not just the kids, but me as well.
But don't worry, we're starting a cult.
Y'all are going to be missed, but you'll be coming in to be the guest speaker some next year. You may not know it yet, but you know it now.
Yeah.
You're too much of an asset to not have, at least from time to time. You're too good at what you do, and that's serving the Lord, man. I say again, I've learned so much from you, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I wish I could put it in words, but like Austin said, we didn't either one go to college. So,
yeah. And they let us be the leaders of the youth.
And we're doing good. We're still doing good.
Yeah.
Against some people's opinion, but.
But that's it.